Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement. It's time for another super mini mail call, and let's get right into it. This one comes from Seth in Florida, so hi to all my Florida viewers. Seth has sent plenty of things into the channel before, and this one, which I've had for a few months, it says Box 1 Super Mini Mail Call on the side here. Are there more boxes? I don't think there's more that I've seen, although maybe Seth is waiting for me to open this one first before he sends any more. All right, so I just opened the box and it's pretty amusing. I'm gonna try to tilt this so that the camera can pick up on it. Well, it looks like we have some box opening tools. The one in the middle says safe. The one on the side, oh, there's stuff falling out, says not safe. And then there's a bunch of question marks next to the little green one here. So yeah, this one says slice safety cutter. That's the one with the question marks. The one in the middle that said safe says manual box cutter. And the one that says not safe here is, it looks like a little fold out knife. Oh, it's pretty kind of cool looking. And as per usual with Seth, this box is completely packed with stuff. Also, Seth has been really amazing with his packing style lately. And so I'm going to try to extricate everything out of here without mixing everything up, because there are some notes on top of things and there's so much stuff in here. This is wild. Any illusions of this being a short mail call episode are, yeah, completely dashed. This is not going to be a short episode. This is going to be quite a long one. Let's just start with the stuff that's not really computer related. We have some coffee from Café du Monde, which is in New Orleans here. And this one says coffee and chicory decaffeinated. So that's decaf. These are like coffee grounds. And this one here is from the New Orleans famous French market. It's also coffee and chicory. And then we have this one from Café du Monde as well. And yep, coffee and chicory. Now, Seth, I never told you this, and I probably should. I guess I'm telling this to everyone else as well, is I've never had coffee and chicory. Well, I have now, because Seth, you sent some in on a previous episode. Now, this feels weird. I'm talking to you, Seth, directly, even though everyone else is watching. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of the chicory. I like coffee quite a bit, but the chicory, not so much. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try this one here and see what this one tastes like, because the one that I've already tried is this orange can here, and I didn't think it was particularly great. We also have some beignets here. So beignet mix, these are like donuts that are very typical or common in New Orleans. I've never been to New Orleans yet, so I can't really speak to that, but you know, having read about it, it's very typical to go to this place if you're in New Orleans and you get some of these really delicious beignets, kind of like a sugar-coated donut. And Seth, you've also sent in a box of this in the past. I'm not much of a baker, but it is with someone who is, and hopefully it gets turned into some baked goods that I can eat if I have low blood sugar. I think that might be it for the food stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Wow, there is so much stuff here. I'm shocked. Looks like we have some t-shirts. I'll just hold these up. Hopefully that's in focus. Can't even read what it says. The Apple Cider Century from Three Oaks, Michigan. There might be something in the note about this. So it's obviously a century, so a 100-mile bike ride, I guess, or run. I'm just checking the size on this, and it is a size large, men's large. That is the size that I wear. I used to be able to fit into a medium shirt. Those days are kind of gone at this point. I mean, it depends on the brand or whatever. Sometimes I can fit into a medium, but if I'm trying to wear it on top of like long sleeves and stuff like that, like to layer like I do in the winter time, then yeah, that's not going to work. Oh, look, Atari 50. That's for the new 2600 Plus that's been released, I think. Unfortunately, this size looks like it's a 2X, which is going to be too big for me. But I do know people who like Atari, and they would fit into that shirt. And it looks like we have another one here. Unfortunately, this one is XL, which is also too big for me. So I'll have to be giving these away, but thank you very much for that. And it looks like we have another t-shirt here. And this one says, Radio Shack is back. That is freaking awesome. And this is a large, so that one totally fits me. And I think that's it for non-computer items. So let's start by taking a look at the note, which is attached to this Café du Monde bag here from New Orleans. All right, the note reads, "Hi Adrian, greetings to you in your glorious basement. Please find within a submission for your super mini mail call and a second box." Interesting, Seth, second box, huh? Whenever Seth sends stuff to me, he always sticks this on the outside of the package. I kind of know that it's from him without even looking at the from address. but I don't recall anything else. Although maybe it came from someone else, like a drop ship or something, and I didn't notice. I've tried to put small notes on the items to make the unboxing more exciting, and of course, the usual amount of special New Orleans items are enclosed at the bottom of the box. Well, I've already shown some of that stuff. I'm trying to up my game on Super Mini Mail Call packaging and hope you find this packaging an improvement over past submissions. I may have missed a few items in terms of specific notes, but as always, please use whatever is helpful to you in the basement and give away otherwise disparate items which could best help others or other creators, and that's exactly what I do. Thank you as always for everything you do, and congratulations again on your transition to working for the basement full time. Thank you very much, Seth. All right, so like, where do we start here? I mean, there's so much stuff. Let's just start with this here. Having seen you wear a Beagle Brothers t-shirt more than once, please find original Beagle Brothers software item below and a bunch of new vintage t-shirts, not Beagle Brothers related, packed with the New Orleans items at the bottom of the box. Okay, well, we already showed that. So yes, Beagle Brothers, I do have a t-shirt that I got at like, I think Portland Retro Gaming Expo a while ago. And there it is, the Beagle Brothers, or Beagle Bros, as some people like to say, but I always say Beagle Brothers, like I say Super Mario Brothers, the mini picks. So these guys made utilities specifically for the Apple II line of computers, and it was in the early days as well. Is there a date on this? It does say it's ProDOS. There it is, 1985. So indeed, they made just the most useful utilities, especially little programmer's toolkits that you would load up. For instance, it would extend BASIC on the Apple II, which doesn't really have very good graphics commands, and it would give you all sorts of stuff you could do in BASIC in graphics mode. You'd be able to easily write text on a graphical screen from BASIC, which is not something you can normally do without like a machine language shim of some type. So it looks like in the case of this mini pix here, 200 all-in-one Apple pictures, compatible with the Shape Mechanic, Print Shop, Apple Mechanic, Alpha Plot, Beagle Graphics, and most other Apple programs. I love this little thing here. Now you can create Print Shop compatible pictures from any high-res picture. I love right off the bat here, it says, like all Beagle Brothers discs, MiniPix is unprotected, so you can and should make a backup copy of your disc just in case something happens to the original. Use standard Apple copy program like the one that came with your Apple. Beagle Brothers was definitely early on the bandwagon of not protecting their discs because the Apple II disk system is so low level, it's pretty easy to make copy protected discs, and that's what pretty much everyone did. So you had to rely on getting pirated or cracked copies to be able to make your own copies, or use some special software like Nibble or Copies and stuff like that that could hopefully do it. These guys, they didn't even bother with that stuff. And it's pretty cool. There's some pictures right there, which we kind of saw already, but these would load into something like Print Shop or whatever and allow you to create banners or signs or greeting cards using these little graphics. And it looks like there's an editor piece of software as well, so you can create your own. Now, one thing I'm a little confused about is talking about using Print Shop to load these graphics, but it must be a DOS 3.3 disk. And looking at this floppy that's here, it says ProDOS version 2 sides. So there must have been another disk that came with this original package maybe that was the DOS 3.3 version, because it says right here, Print Shop cannot read disks at all if you're using the ProDOS MiniPix disk. Although maybe the idea was you were to make your own disk that was DOS 3.3, because it's talking about converting the files between the two formats. This little section right here says triple speed. Update your DOS 3.3 disk with Beagle Brothers Pronto DOS. High-res pictures will load in 3 seconds instead of 10. Saving and almost everything else is faster too. I don't remember that when I was a kid, but that's pretty freaking awesome. And on the back of the manual here, it lists all the different things that they had, at least at this time. And this is what I was talking about, like Beagle Basics. So puts AppleSoft in RAM so you can change it and add enhancements like new commands, if then else, swap variables, go to, go sub, tone, H screen, etc. So I think tone was like for sound generation, which AppleSoft did not support at all. This one here, decode. Compact AppleSoft programs and reveal unused code. Auto proofread AppleSoft programs even as you type, tracing a number of program statements after stopping a program. These guys were just in the habit of making some really awesome utilities for the Apple II. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, moving on. We have Choplifter HD. So Choplifter, that was a game I really loved on the Apple II. And I mean, I know that was on pretty much all 8-bit systems. And this is like a remaster, I guess. It's a DVD for the PC. All right, and that's right. I think this was available for the PlayStation because I was recently watching a video, maybe from GameSack, and he was talking about this version, which has like this 3D graphics, and I don't know, it looks kind of silly to me. Probably because I'm just generally not always a fan of the remakes of a simple game like Choplifter that they try to fancy up with this 3D graphics, and I don't know, the overall gameplay I think was kind of like, it was not super exciting. Now with this game here, I was wondering if the disc was in there, but it's actually sealed still. So yeah, the disc is gonna be in there. All right, next up, it's not quite tax time, but here we go, Macintax from the makers of TurboTax. So TurboTax has existed for a long time. This is a US-centric tax preparation or income tax preparation software. TurboTax, I think if I'm correct, is made by Intuit. And I don't know back then if this was a different company. It says Chipsoft. Maybe Intuit, or this became Intuit, or I don't really know. But back in the day, when you had TurboTax, for instance, it only ran on a PC. So people on Macintoshes, they were left high and dry. It says here for tax year 1991, US taxes are due April 15th or thereabouts. It kind of moves around depending on which day is, well, not a weekend, that is. Wow, this got Editor's Choice in 1989. Tax software got Editor's Choice, really? That's like the most boring thing ever. But I suppose what was really awesome was like how it looked like WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. There's your tax form. Even today, tax software doesn't look like this. You know, you have these like much more helpful guides to, you know, ask you your income and various things from different forms, and then it like figures it all out for you. You don't have to like type right into the form. I mean, what's the point of that? You could just get this form and just write onto it, or use a typewriter even. I'm sure there's a lot more to it, but that just seems pretty silly. Proven reliable, 6 million returns were filed using TurboTax. I don't really know when TurboTax came out, but it was probably, you know, early days for tax preparation. And I think the Mac people really wanted to get in on their tax preparation as well. So there it is, Macintax Personal 1040 9.01, tax year 1991. Every year we'll have a new version because there's different changes in tax laws and stuff like that. Now each state also has, well, most states have income tax you have to file as well. And usually that is Form 540, although it varies. I don't know. I've only filed taxes in 2 states, Oregon and California. But I guess because there's no state discs here, you'd have to do that manually still. I think what I'll end up doing is I'll probably end up scanning all this stuff here, and then I will also image these floppies. So if anyone wants to check out tax preparation software from 1991 on the Macintosh, well, you can do that. Oh, well, here's something interesting. I just did a quick Google just for fun, and the Macintosh repository already has this. Well, there's a box. Do they actually have the discs? Yeah, I guess they do. They have a stuffed file here. The snow is kind of hilarious. It's, I guess, for the holiday season. So I guess I don't need to do any archiving because it's already uploaded. That's so funny. All right, let's keep the train moving here. So we have a package that's, this is also from Seth. It was just all lumped in here. That's obviously comes from Kevin over at TechSelect. I'm going to guess that these are Commodore 64 prototype boards. And indeed, it's Commodore 64/128 Proto Board V2. This is obviously the cartridge connector, and this will allow you to, you know, like just make your own things. So install an EPROM socket or whatever circuit you need, and then you can just run some bodge wires there from this connector here, which obviously goes into the cartridge connector on the computer, and then you can easily prototype your cartridge. That's sweet. Thank you. All right, and here's a letter here or something that says Choplifter goodness. Oh, okay, so I'm probably ruining everything by opening stuff out of order. So this is what that this was attached to here, and I'm covering up an address there. It says Choplifter cartridge adapter. Let's see what's in here. Oh, okay, so an original Choplifter cartridge for the Commodore 64. So that kind of goes hand in hand with this here, at least so far. So, all right, well, I'm gonna open everything first, and then I'll bust out the 64 and the Apple II and stuff. We can like test out some of this stuff. All right, the next thing here says 1986 Buick software. So I think what this is, and I've seen some of this stuff in the past, is you would get this, and it was like a test drive game, probably like CGA graphics. Pretty sure that LGR has shown off some of this stuff before, and other people as well. Oh, check out the 80s. It is so 80s. Look at that. Wow. That is so freaking awesome. The Buick Dimension. So this was obviously what was mailed to you. I don't think you had to pay for this. Like this was sent free as like a promo thing. Oh, this is for the Apple II. I thought this was for the PC. So Apple IIe or 2C 120K memory, 5¼ inch floppy drive. And look right at the bottom here, feel free to make a copy of this disc and pass it along to a friend. Oh yes. So yes, you can display different models of cars, different equipment you can get, check out interior or like various features and specs for the cars. Of course, you can do a purchase plan so you can see how much it's going to cost you per month. And there it is, the Buick Dimension version 1 requires a 2E or 2C with 128K and 1986 soft add group. So General Motors hired this company here to create this little piece of software here with this awesome freaking 80s stuff here. I wonder why it's double-sided. So, oh, it says on the back here, disc 2. Okay, or side 2, that is. I wouldn't be surprised if this is already archived somewhere, but it's certainly neat to see this freaking awesome artwork there. Yeah, this is just so 80s-tastic. It's amazing. And I did a quick search for Buick Dimensions. I found a 1990 version for DOS on My Abandonware. Looks like there was a Macintosh version as well. We got some screenshots of the Macintosh version, and I'm wondering, side A, is this the Apple II version? Yes, it is. All right, well, this is gonna spoil it because if I let this run, it will actually boot the software. So we'll close that and move on to the next item. All right, so this one has been sitting here next to it. This is the Apple PC floppy drive for the mid-1990s. We used them in the graphics shop where I worked to import rare 5¼ inch disc that came in. Let's try to open this here. Maybe I should try to figure out how to use one of these other things here. Okay, so this one here, the slicer, has a little tiny like ceramic blade right there, which maybe will help us open this because it's all taped up. Oh yeah, this is made by Apple. That made quick work of this. I'm pretty sure, I don't know for sure, but I think this requires a separate card. And what I mean by that is I don't think this is a standard Apple to disk interface connector. And like there was a card Apple made that plugged into the, yeah, okay, it's 34 pin. Has a special card or has a special card that goes into your computer, like in the Macintosh 2, and then it allows reading DOS floppy disks. I don't know if this thing is high density or if it's double density, but on the bottom here, it just simply says it's the PC 5¼ inch disk drive. Now, I think what I do have that can use these is I think I have one of those orange micro PC compatibility cards that goes into a Macintosh 2, allows the PC or allows the Mac to run PC software. And I'm pretty sure it can use this disk drive here to boot DOS and like read PC disks basically. And let's see what the 68K MLA forum post says. Looks like it could be used for the Mac SE or the Mac 2. So there must have been a card that went into your SE that used the Apple File Exchange program. For the Mac SE, there is a PC bus card, the MS drive controller for the Macintosh SE, probably pretty rare, I would imagine. And then for the Mac 2, there is a new bus card, which is right there. And it says here there is a third-party card, and maybe that was that orange micro thing I was talking about. And it looks like there is some documentation for this drive, service manual and technical procedures. Oh, a bunch of stuff here. Kind of funny that the model number is 8806. That's very similar to 8086 if you just switch the 8 and the 0 around. Well, I think what I want to do right now is let's flip this over and open this up. I am betting, I'll grab a screwdriver here. I'm betting this is just a normal PC floppy drive in here, like nothing, it's completely, I don't think there's going to be any electronics in here. I bet you it just goes from the regular sugar connector into this cable, and it's the actual controller card that goes into the Mac that has all the smarts in it. So this is and it's going to be different than like the Apple smart drive kind of thing. So let's just see if I am right. Now, one thing I'm not going to try is plug this into a PC external floppy drive connector on like an XT. Because knowing Apple, they switched things around and changed the pinout or did something that would make it completely incompatible. It is not really coming apart. So I'm going to try to get this lever off the front here. There we go. Plastic spudger tool to the rescue. There we go. So the top kind of levers off. Oh, it's just like typical Apple construction at this point. Incredibly overbuilt. This drive was probably extremely expensive. And well, all this metal is what you're paying for partially. But I guarantee you inside of here is just going to be a standard PC disk drive. I am 99.9% positive that's what we are going to see in here. Now, Apple's disk drives at this time were all built like this, overbuilt, so to speak. There we go. What do we think is going to be the mechanism in here? Oh, yes. Okay, that looks familiar. I'm going to say this is a YE drive. Let's see if I can see it on the back. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, it's a Panasonic. I was thinking it was either a Panasonic or a YE drive. There it is, Panasonic. So, yep, just a bog standard PC floppy drive. Absolutely nothing different about what you see in here. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a 360K drive, actually. It's a JU455. And yes, just a quick search showed that it is definitely a 360K drive, so double-sided, double density. So, and I'm pretty sure when this thing came out, so probably around 87, I take it, because that's when the Mac SE and the Mac 2 were out, so 87 or 88. High density was a thing. High density came out on the PC in 1984. So this probably cost an absolute fortune. And it didn't even read high density disks. Like, how ridiculous is that? Anyhow, if this drive were somehow broken, I mean, I have plenty of Panasonic drives, so here's another one. It doesn't have the exact same layout on there, but I'm pretty sure it'll work in place of this one. Obviously, this is a 1.2 meg version, though, so it's actually a little bit better. This is a JU475, this top one, so the 1.2 meg variant of this one here. But as you can see, the mechanism part is essentially identical. So that means if I just take this base plate off and this lever, it'll all just work in the Apple case. So you can actually upgrade this to 1.2 megs, not that the Mac can use it, by just swapping out the internal mechanism with another Panasonic drive. You know what I think kind of is amusing here? I don't know for sure if this connector is the standard PC pinout, but if it were, what would be really funny is you could take your IBM PC XT with one disk drive, or even the original PC from 1981, and then plug this disk drive into your computer for your second disk drive. And I mean, if the pinout of the cable were the same, it would freaking work. And it would look so weird to, you know, have an Apple logo on the floppy drive sitting there on your desk and being able to read and write to your 360K disks. I didn't see on that post I was looking at on the forum there about how much this thing cost, but you know that Apple charged a huge, hefty premium for this drive. So it probably was, you know, half the cost of the entire PC, I'm just guessing here, for this disk drive. Well, let's just see for fun if the mechanism works, because yeah, Panasonic drives, by the way, you can't close the lever when there's no disk in there. So we'll pop that in and the lever goes down normally, yep. And it pops out on its own because as you can see on the front, which you can't see very well there, but there's no like divot to even grab the disk. But luckily, well, this drive has been inside this case here, so it's not dusty in the least, which means that the mechanism seems to work very nicely. All right, by the way, let's look at this other box opener here. So the manual box cutter. So I'm pretty sure that the ceramic blade tool I have that was sent in on another mail call a while back by a viewer, which is this one right here. It uses a ceramic safety blade. I mean, I don't know why it's considered safe. You can still cut yourself a ceramic blade really easily, but I'm pretty sure it's the same company as this. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same blade in there between these two tools here. But this one actually is kind of cool because it stays out. This other one here is spring loaded, and as soon as you let go, it goes in. This one, not so much. And then of course it's got this hook thing, I guess, so you can more easily slice. So I'm gonna demonstrate. Oh yeah, that works quite well. So I cut into that. Yeah, I have to say that is pretty freaking sweet. You know what, I have to break down boxes sometimes. You know, I have a bunch of mail call stuff, and I kind of like this one. This will make it a lot easier to do. Only thing I'm gonna need to do is I will need to buy some more of the blades, because this one is actually very dull now. So ceramic, I guess, should last longer, but it compared to this one here, oh yeah, there's a huge difference. It does say here, there's the blade number. Oh, so you know what, maybe I can take this apart and swap that blade around. Looks like, let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, it's double-sided, so that's cool. So let me flip this around. Okay, this one's back together and the blade is much sharper now because I flipped it around. Okay, awesome. So yeah, cool, 2 of these. All right, let's keep moving on here. Let's see what the next item is here. Hi, Adrian. Enclosed is a second RetroTink 5X. I no longer need it as my final device with old inputs are gone. That said, in this box you'll find both the RetroTink 5X and a SCART adapter. Another 5X? Seth was the one who sent me the current 5X that I have, which incidentally just got some new firmware that apparently fixes a ton of the issues that I kept having with it. Now, I don't remember, is this, yep, this is the same one. Wow, that is awesome. Okay, well, as I said, I have had nothing but issues with the 5X. Now, I still have my old one. I'm just reaching around on my bench here. So I still have this one, which I used for a long time. This is the 2X Pro and doesn't have the SCART input, but I did like this one. This one was certainly more reliable, way less fancy, no menus or any of that stuff. This thing just kind of worked. A lot of stuff got added to the 5X Pro, or the 5X, is it a Pro or 5X? A 5X Pro, yeah, 5X Pro, doesn't say Pro on the top, like this one does. This one has Pro, it's just hard to read, it says Pro right there. Not so on this one. Anyways, this one has a menu, it has a remote control, which, oh, you know what? Doesn't seem to have been sent along with it. But I do have the remote from the other one that Steph sent me, it's this thing right here, so to control the menus and stuff. I think you can actually do that stuff from the front panel here too, but the remote makes it a little bit easier. Anyhow, as I said, I've had so many issues with this thing. I could not recommend it for the longest time, but there is new firmware, which I just loaded onto the other one, which Seth already sent in. Anyhow, I'm really hoping that that new firmware that just came out for this thing, 3.6 something or other, will fix a lot of the issues that I've been having with this, specifically freezing or no video output. When you turn on the 8-bit computer, you get nothing, and I'd have to like power cycle this thing to get it to work, and there's other things as well. I've been talking to Mark at the Retro channel, who has one of these as well, and Mark runs into the same issues that I do, so it's not just me. It's just this thing seems to be targeting game consoles more than actual computers, and I think computers just have very non-standard video, and it just really confuses this thing. Anyhow, thank you, Seth. That's awesome. You know what's really good about this, I have to say? This is a great deinterlacer. So if I hook up a VHS VCR to this thing, it's great for capturing over HDMI. And I've been using the one that's here on the bench already for that purpose. So it's actually good to have another one of these because I can operate this away from the bench. I do know there's a 4K version of this that came out, and it's like $1,000 or $800 or something like that. And that's, I'm sure it's good. I can't really talk up to that. I mean, if it's got bugs like this, then, But this thing is not cheap either. This is a very expensive device, so I feel very lucky and privileged to have now 2 of them. Let's move on to the next thing here. This one says Pi 1541 adapter. So I actually already have one of these that I built up myself, and this one looks like a much fancier version. So you plug this into a Raspberry Pi. Let me zoom in here. Plug this into a Raspberry Pi right there, and then you have 2 IEC connectors. This is for your Commodore, and you can plug in an OLED screen, I think, into this connector there, or maybe that pin header there. I can't remember. The one I have built up has the OLED screen on it, and what happens is the Raspberry Pi can actually act as a cycle accurate disk drive, 1541 disk drive. I mean, we're talking perfect cycle accurate, which means all the games like fast loaders and demos and stuff will work perfectly. That is not the case if you're using like an SDIEC or even like a Kung Fu Flash. You cannot load fancy new demos. They do a lot of tricks with the disk drive to make the thing load really quickly, and none of that works with that. So if you're going to try to run original demos and you want to use it on a real computer, then you need to use something like the Pi 1541 with the Raspberry Pi, or an actual original 1541 disk drive or clone or whatever, but you know, an actual floppy drive with a CPU in it. And it needs to be cycle accurate because they're counting cycles with the 6502 in the disk drive to facilitate this super fast loading capabilities. And this thing can do that. And with the OLED screen, then you can actually like switch disks and stuff like that. But you can also do that on the HDMI output from the Raspberry Pi itself. It's a really cool project. If you have a Commodore system and you haven't tried this out, I do recommend it. And especially if you want to avoid using real discs, but you want to start using those demos on real hardware, Pi 1541 is the only way to go. I don't think I've ever shown the one that I have. I don't even remember where it is. I think I have a box full of Raspberry Pi stuff. I have never showed it because I built one up just to try it out and it works and that's great. But I think what I ended up doing is anytime I need to run a demo, I just use a real disk drive because I happen to have a lot of disks and disk drives. and I can just make a quick disk image like off the downloaded D64 files or disk images. I can just make several disks, however many the demo is, and then I can try it on the real disk drive. Like, I don't even need to use the emulator. But I know that I am lucky because I have disk drives and disks, and that is something that is just not easy to get anymore. So if you're trying to get into Commodore 64 stuff and you don't have a floppy drive and you don't need to have physical disks and all the headache that comes with it, I really, really recommend this if you want to run those demos. Otherwise, just go for like the Kung Fu Flash, which I have one right here. This is a 3D printed cartridge cover I did, and this was sent in by a viewer. This is an open source project. It is freaking fantastic for running disk images. It just doesn't work with the demos, but everything else like the cracked stuff and whatnot generally works on this. And so I really recommend this, but this is like the solution to use real disks, well, disk images, without a real disk drive, the Pi 1541. And I just noticed this fell out of the package. I'm assuming that this, which we're just going to use this now sharp blade here to cut this open. This is going to be the OLED screen that I mentioned. So we just pop this out of here. And yep, there it is. That is it. So it looks like it has a 4-pin header. What? So that's weird. I'm assuming it connects there, which it can't. So yeah, I'll have to look into this. I'll have to switch the connector out. One of these needs to be male and one needs to be female. Incidentally, right here, these are the level shifters from the Raspberry Pi, which is 3.3 volts, to this open collector driver here, which is how IEC works, 7406. And you need these level shifters so that the Pi doesn't get damaged. Pi is not 5-volt tolerant. So awesome. Thank you very much, Seth, for that. You know, you never have too many of these types of things because, to be honest, like I said, I don't even know where mine is right now. So to have one of these, I really need to get more organized down here in the basement. I mean, I'm pretty organized, and I'm sure if I spent like just a few minutes looking, I'd find it. But yeah, I kind of need a better filing system for like all my Commodore goodies. I just noticed here in the bag, by the way, for the 1541, this is the cable. So I guess the idea is 3D print a case, and you can connect your screen up. I just have mine on the one I have built like attached right on top of the board, so I don't need this little cable. All right, we still have tons more stuff to go through here. Next up, Printmaster Art Gallery. So Printmaster is, I think, a copy or a clone of Print Shop. And this came out for both the Commodore 64, I think that's where it first came out, and I think the PC, and it looks just like Print Shop. It's maybe a little bit more capable. This is obviously for the PC version, and let's see what this is all about. This is obviously an extra art set here. So we got a single floppy disk there, probably 360K. Now, I think there's a Wikipedia article or at least some, you know, internet lore about Printmaster versus Print Shop. But Print Shop was created by, well, or marketed by Broderbund, but Printmaster came out after and was definitely totally ripping off the Print Shop features and capabilities and stuff like that. And I was a Print Shop person on my Apple II. I never used Printmaster. But this pack here includes 140 all-new graphics designed to give you the widest choice of images for your banners, signs, cards, calendars, stationery, blah, blah, blah. Printmaster and Print Shop were like pretty much the same when it came to features. And I think Printmaster just had a slightly like, it was newer. So the UI was a little bit improved over Print Shop, the original version of Print Shop. But I'm pretty sure Print Shop came first and this was a total ripoff. Well, not this, but Printmaster itself. All right, well, let's keep going here. So it looks like we have some more Choplifter stuff here. A Choplifter keychain. Oh, this is really cool. This is OG Choplifter right there, right from the freaking 80s. Big block of plastic here. Love it, just love it. I'm gonna be assuming that this is a disc here of Print Shop itself. Just carefully cut into this. Let's see, a Print Shop. Choplifter, I mean. Probably for the Apple II. Let's see. See, this look like Apple III discs. Okay, no, this is Blackjack. All right, world's greatest Blackjack program. Really? The C2H0009 backup and the master. I've seen these discs before, because I think Seth sent in some stuff before. That was Apple III software, and I almost feel, well, no, it says 1981, Cooper and Humble, but the discs look the same. Oh, it does say Apple right here. And look at this, special delivery software. Can you imagine Apple having, like having a design like this. Like they were so, you know, curated the way they looked. Even by like 1984, everything had like a very specific look to it. And this looks nothing like the Apple we know now, does it? It's sort of like, this is a fun and irreverent Apple. Yeah, this is got to be a game for the Apple III. Now, funny thing is, I have to admit, I haven't used my Apple III in quite a while. I got to break that thing out, see if that even works anymore. But it will be kind of cool to be able to try some real software on it. I guess I've only tried disk images. But you can make Apple III disks using ADT Pro on an Apple II. You can, the same, like the disk format is compatible, meaning an Apple II can write Apple III disks. So that's how I made all my disks for like booting the system up and stuff like that. But these are originals, so that's kind of cool. Let's just see if they are moldy or, oh, they look okay. Nice, okay. Very cool. That's awesome. Thanks, Seth. I got tricked by the Choplifter keychain that was stuck to it, but there's a bunch more stuff here. So maybe there's Choplifter discs to be had yet. All right, here's the next thing. It says, do not bend. Is this software here? It looks like it's already been cut open there. So let's take a look at what this is here. I see a floppy disk in here. Aha! I knew it. Choplifter by Broderbund. And this is the Apple version, and it's not pirated. Amazing. I only had the pirated version, of course. The hostages are locked in barracks, 16 per barrack. One barrack has been blown open so the hostages can get free. You'll need to figure out how to free the other hostages without getting them killed. I played a lot of this game. I thought the Apple II version was pretty good. I mean, I only had an Apple II, so I didn't really know any other version. Toggle the sound off and on. And you can reverse the up and down. So that's invert. That's kind of cool. Awesome. So there it is. We have Choplifter for the 64 on cartridge, the Apple II keychain, and we have the PC version. Oh, here they are right here. So now we have 3 different versions of Choplifter. All right, let's keep going. This thing here says magnetic media do not bend or expose to magnetic fields. All right. Okay. So I'm assuming here, Apple II Online Store G063. All right, so interesting. This is obviously like a reproduction, right? Yeah, okay. This looks like it's printed like on an inkjet printer here. Like this is photo paper. So this seems to be a modern recreation of the game. I guess in case the other disc is bad. And this is probably like the original box, I guess. But if we bring out the original disc here, so yeah, this is obviously the original and the reproduction. That's interesting. I didn't know that these guys here sold reproduction stuff like this. So that's kind of cool. I'm assuming that it's like authorized, I guess, so to speak, if, you know, it's a copy like that. Okay, let's keep going. This one's already open. Slide this out. Okay, I think this is the SCART cable that Seth was talking about. So I bet you this is for the Apple II GS. So yep, this will allow you to use the RetroTink here in RGB with a 2GS. So Seth must have been using a 2GS and he said he doesn't need it anymore, so he must have gotten rid of it. Okay. All right, I think we're getting near the end. You might think there's deja vu happening here. This is, I'm quite sure, another one of those Apple II floppy drives. I mean, not Apple II, Macintosh. There it is, unwrapped, and indeed, is exactly what this is. So I wonder what the deal is with 2 of them, Seth. I'll have to email Seth and be and ask the question. Do we have the same part number on the bottom? Yeah, I mean, this all looks basically identical to the other one. And I'm quite sure that back in the day, here's the other one here, I'm quite sure that back in the day, you could not hook up both of these. In fact, I looked online and I saw the manual for this thing, and it said, do not connect more than one Apple II card for your Macintosh 2, you know, if it has multiple slots. It said because the power supply was not designed to handle the current, I guess, required by 2 of these disk drives. I don't really know if that is true, but it had a big warning. But these look basically identical. And with that, that appears to be everything that came in the box from Seth. I mean, excluding the food and stuff, which is off to the side right here. So I think now for phase 2 of this video, I'm gonna bust out a computer. I guess we'll start with the Apple II And we'll try out the original Choplifter discs here and this Beagle Brothers disc. The bench is cleaned up. I moved everything over to the table back there, and let's take a look at some of this software. First, we're going to start with the art gallery here. I don't actually have a copy of a PC Printmaster. I'm sure I could download it, but I did go ahead and make a disk image of this. And the contents of that disk are right here. Now, interesting is it is only 180K, so a single-sided PC disk, I guess for maximum compatibility with the very original PC. But I was hoping to see some actual individual files here. It looks like we just have some batch files that I assuming are for copying to your hard drive. And I guess Printmaster can probably use these, I don't know, SDR and whatever files here to access the graphics that are included with this package. Moving on, I have the Apple IIc on the bench here, and I'm going to power it up from this USB-C power bank here. So we just plug that in, and it is all connected here, and we turn this on. There we go, it's working. Let's fire up the RetroTink 5X Pro, which remember I said I have updated the firmware on, so hopefully it is a bit more reliable with the Apple II, because it always really struggled with the Apple II. Okay, we are here. All right, there we go, 3.71, that's the firmware. Let's just make sure we're on composite. Now, first thing I want to try out is Choplifter here. We have two different discs of it, and I think it needs a joystick. So let's plug in this CH stick here, which I haven't used in ages. Hopefully it works. What can happen on these old joysticks is the potentiometers can get dirty. It makes them very difficult to use because they're just erratic. All right, let's try this original one here. Let's see what happens here. It's loading. Oh, look at that. M. Okay, so I guess this is some kind of copy protection and it is not happy. M, what does M mean? All right, well, that's a bit disappointing, but I'm not surprised because this is a very old disc. All right, let's try this one here, which I think is that recreation copy. Let's recycle the power, or sorry, control Apple, open Apple. I'm a mess here. Open Apple control reset. This is a pirated copy, because notice it boots to basic first, and the other one just went straight into that title screen. It also loads much more slowly than the other one, well, at least for the title screen. I am happy to see that the RetroTink is displaying the video properly. There's like no weird issues. All right, there we go. So no title screen at all, but the game loaded. All right, so what if we push a button? Hey, that actually worked. Let's see if this is actually working. Okay, up, down, left, right. We have a lot of drift. Let's see, how do we adjust this? This joystick has these little knobs for centering things. There we go. All right, cool. It is centered. So up, down, left, right, and to switch directions, if I recall, is one of these buttons here. Okay, so the brown button, that's right. The brown button lets you change direction. And this is obviously the fire button here, or this one here. All right, it works. Okay, cool. So is there sound? I think I have the speaker down. There we go. Okay. So it's been so long since I played this. Let's see if I can remember how. Oh, all right. So we can change this to here. We can shoot straight down. There we go. I have to get a little closer. Him as well. No, no, no. He's gonna shoot my guy. There we go. So you land and he flies into your helicopter. Oh no! No, 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 no. Let's get these guys. Come on. Oh, oh, it's been so long since I played this. Second sortie. Okay. Let's make this like this. I mean, look at the graphics are quite good. I don't know why I'm trying to shoot this guy here because there's really no point. There's no one around him. You only have to worry where there's your guys. Run to me, run to me. Whoa. There we go, he's gone. Oh, come on, guys. There we go. So we have to fill up the helicopter. I can't remember if I have to shoot this first. No? All right, well, let's fly back. So you fly back to the base, if I recall. This is all without reading the instructions. And we land, and the guys get out. So there we go. They're happy. Yay! Okay. Oh, yeah, but oh, he shot me down. All right, well, anyways, as you can see, this game is pretty good for the Apple II, and I remember playing a whole lot of this back in the day, and this copy works, but unfortunately, yep, the original disc here doesn't work. Let's just try it one more time here, see what happens. Oh, you see that hacked by the so-and-so? Ah, it's too bad. Yep, and it gives us that beep. Unhappy. Okay, next up is this Buick Dimension disc here. Now, I did end up imaging this disc, both sides, and I will upload that to archive.org. I think this exists out there, but just in case this version doesn't or whatever, the original copy is there. So let's reboot this and see what we get for Buick Dimension. Now, incidentally, I tried to disc image that. Oh, Buick Dimension. Press any key to begin. All right, program now loading. I did try to image the copy protected, that original Choplifter disc. Like maybe I could make an image and then make a new disc and it would work better. But my Flex Imager, I was using my Grease Weasel, really couldn't read it at all. So it uses some kind of very custom format. And that's totally doable because like the Apple II disc hardware is completely low level and software can do basically anything it wants with it. So I think they just went with an entirely custom disc format. So I wasn't able to read it properly. Oh, not to mention, some of the tracks have really bad signal integrity on them, so I think the disc is actually just bad, which is par for the course with these old discs. This is what happens. They're old, and they're not always stored correctly. If they were stored indoors, a climate-controlled environment, they're probably fine, but if you store them in your attic or in your garage where it's hot and cold, it's basically a recipe for destroying your disc. Please flip the disc to side 2, press return. All right, here it is. Explore the Buick Dimension. Ooh, technology, their advanced features. Integrity statement. We tried to make this as comprehensive and factual as possible. Okay, we hope you enjoy the program. Press escape to begin. All right, what are we going to look at first? Let's look at the technology. Ooh, press a number. I for info window. What does that do? Loading. Okay, here we go. Information. This is the technology demo. Okay. So engine. It shows us the engine, but now what? We hit I for info about the engine? Yes, okay. You can get 4 cylinders and intercooled turbo V6s and a powerful V8. So the turbo V6 would be, I guess, on the Grand National, which I think in 1986 when this came out was around. But the powerful V8 in the LeSabre and Electra wagon. Buick offers both manual and overdrive automatic transmissions to suit your driving needs. It's very interesting. Oh, I should have gone to turbo. I mean, the graphics are kind of cool, right? Oh, animation as well. Very fancy. Let's check out the turbocharger here. Not giving us a cool demo, at least now. Oh, there it is. The turbo is spinning. So the exhaust spins the turbo. And then it exits on the left side there, and then doesn't really show the intake, but somewhere there's an air filter. It goes into the turbo and then into the engine, pressurized. If we hit I, what does this tell us here? 100,000 RPM, dense charge of air fuel into the combustion chamber. Purpose of the intercooler is to lower the temperature of the air charge, making it denser. All right, let's check out instruments here. So I'm all in the technology thing. Oh, look. Look at that. Are we gonna be able to drive like a game? Let's look at the digital dash. Oh boy, halogen lights on. Did it really say that? And we have the graphic control center. That was in the Riviera. It actually had a CRT mounted in the center console. Oh, I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. The drive is spinning. Does it not give us a demo? I'm gonna hit I. Oh, there was a next screen there. A graphic control center is a major technological achievement. Its interactive CRT displays, gauges, travel, diagnostic, and vehicle status info. It's touch sensitive. I mean, yeah, It was touch sensitive green CRT with like graphics on it for, you know, controlling the climate control, stuff like that. Oh, press enter to view screens. Escape to continue and hit enter. Okay, here we go. Yes. So the volume and like the radio controls, and let's see what we got here. Fan control, temperatures, outside temp. I would have, I mean, and then like, it's in the middle console, but look, it's showing you your RPM and oil and stuff like that. Love it. I just love it. You know, I'm sure someone's done videos on this display that was in the Riviera, but I wonder what drove it. Like, what computer was behind the scenes? Was it a Z80, 6502? Was it just a microcontroller of some kind with a CRT-C? I'm really curious, but it was a touchscreen as well. And you have to think about 1986. I mean, that was pretty cool. Now the Riviera itself, oh, there we go, fuel economy computer. And yeah, I guess, I don't know if I'm curious if when you first turn on the car, is that what you would see, the Riviera logo? It was very cool though. Okay, so that was technology. Let's hit 3 for choose. Just says choose. Choose what? Help you decide which Buick is right for you. Oh, all right, okay, well, we want the most expensive one. We want a mid-size. We want a 2-door coupe. And thank you for completing the questionnaire. Press return to have the program. Oh, okay, yep. So we have 2 different Rivieras, the T-Type or the 2-door coupe. Why don't we hit enter on the Riviera T-Type here? So it lets us select which one we want to have as our current model. So I guess that's like all the stuff that we're going to look at in the main screen, like specs or whatever, are going to be from that one. So P to select a new program or escape. Let's go back. So now we've done choose. So if we do sticker, and we should be able to see, here it is. Yep, it did remember that. So let's hit E for, oh wow, it has drop-down menus. Ooh, fancy. Standard equipment. Alloy wheels, body side molding, intermittent wipers. Yeah, fancy. Oh, you can actually scroll. So this comes with the graphic control center and digital whatever, and 3.8 liter V6 engine. Oh, lots and lots of features. Lumbar seats, power seats, that is. Power windows, tilt steering. I mean, this thing was pretty fully loaded. Grand Touring suspension. Ooh. And we can click on 2 to see what we can add. We can add lower accent paint. Delco Bose stereo system, $900. Leather seats, an extra $487. Electronic side mirrors, a mere $35. That's pretty cheap. It didn't come with a vanity mirror or electric pull down trunk. Oh, that's a soft close. So you close the trunk instead of having to slam it, you just close it lightly and it soft closes. I clicked on model specs here. It's loading up here. I don't know if this should be the model of, well, I don't know, is it going to be all the Buicks or is it going to be, oh, this will be all the Buicks. Okay, there are the specs for the car we've picked. So it has 150 horsepower. It's so low. That is so low for a 3.8 liter engine. So it looks like on the top here, this is a kind of a drop-down menu. So if I hit M for model, there are all the different models and with the prices as well. Ooh, it gets really expensive. Yeah, so $22,000 for that Riviera. Is that the most expensive one? Yes, that is by far the most expensive one. Now, I'm kind of a car guy, but I don't really know General Motors stuff that well, and I've never heard of the Somerset Custom. The Skylark I've heard of, but the Skyhawk? It'd be kind of cool if you could see pictures of this stuff. Exterior color, exterior trim. Just trying to figure out how to use it. So those are the colors. Features. Standard equipment. Comes with body side molding and an AM radio and a 2-liter engine. It's obviously the very inexpensive car. It's kind of too bad. Like, I wish it could have at least a drawing of what the car looked like. I mean, if we click on technology, I don't think it's really going to show us our Skyhawk. No, it's just the generic car that we saw earlier. All right, well, the last thing I want to look at, let's check out invitation, which I'm assuming has something to do with like, come on down to our dealer and check out your Buick for yourself. Spend the day in a Buick. Drive the Buick of your choice for a day. It's simple, just type in your name. Okay, Adrian. And then print one for your personalized invitation. For more details and location of your nearest dealer, call this number. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to do anything more than that. I think the idea is it would just print this, some kind of form letter. Whoops, I hit escape too many times there, so it went away. But yeah, that seems to be it for this Buick disc. I was really hoping for like a driving simulator, which I know General Motors did have. I don't know about on the Apple II, but on PCs and stuff, they had these driving simulators that you could get. Nonetheless, this is still pretty cool. It's pretty creative. I gotta give them credit for trying something fun like this. I'm not sure this would have convinced me to buy a Buick. Of course, at the time I had an Apple IIc, I didn't have any kind of buying power because I was like 11 years old. Nonetheless, I still would have been pretty excited to get this just to fool around and play with it. Although, of course, once I did, I probably would have never touched it again because it doesn't have any replayability. But yeah, that's pretty cool that they came up with this to try to sell their cars. And I guess there was some intersection of computer nerds and General Motors fans that would buy a Buick. and then like this would help them decide which one they wanted to get. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is the Beagle Brothers Mini Pix disc. I'm not quite sure if there's anything to actually do with this, so we'll reboot the computer here. And I think it should boot up, I assume. All right, Mini Pix Disc 1, copyright Beagle Brothers. Well, let's just check out the slideshow. All right, I don't think this is necessarily supposed to be in color. So if we go to this and we change to PBR, it should be in monochrome. Yep, there we go, much sharper. So I have to admit, those are some pretty fun graphics, and back in the print shop days, I would have loved to have made some banners and stuff with these guys. There's like a Frankenstein there, and oh, like a Charlie Chaplin. You got the Beatles, looks like, you got Elvis, Shakespeare. These are really, really fun, I have to say. Police officer. Lots of holiday season stuff here. Of course, we're right there in the holiday season right now, so these are very appropriate. Now, again, I talked about the fact that this is a ProDOS disc, and therefore print shop can't use this. So I assume some conversion would be necessary. I don't still quite understand the difference, why it's not DOS 3.3. All right, let's try to get back to the original program. I think we need to load startup. Okay, and let's try the editor. I wanted to go to that. And all right, designed by Bert Kersey, programming Randy Brandt and Mark Simonson. Stand by some more. Okay, here we go. All right, so mini pick mode. Let's try. Okay, that's it. Did blow up 1, which is nothing. Screen mode. Don't know what that does exactly. How do you actually draw on this? I don't really see. All right, so let's try loading set G. So load to 1, set G. You may need to switch modes. Okay, switch modes, load screen, set G. Okay, so I'm not really seeing how to edit. Capture mini picture. Which picture? I don't know, 1. Oh, I see, you can select. All right, I kind of see what's going on here. This is like a high-res graphic screen. So let's load this weightlifter here. Enter, done. Mini picture 1 captured. Press escape. Okay, there it is. Now I was under the impression like I could edit this, but load, save, flip, mirror, negative, blow up, erase, titles, catalog, or mode. Well, let's do blow up, and we'll blow up 1. So there it is. Mini pick mode, screen mode, change proportions. Okay, that just stretched it. I'm definitely missing something about how to edit this. I just assumed it was like a little miniature paint program, like a pixel paint program, but I don't think that's the case. Screen title, set G, press return. Well, anyways, there's a whole lot of graphics on here, and it's kind of cool. And, you know, to be honest, there's a manual, and maybe if I read the manual, I'd understand a little bit more of how to use this. And actually, reading the manual here, it looks like the editor is not designed as like a paint program. It is just designed to do what we've been doing right here, which is like flipping the image around and basically copying part of a high-res screen into like this mini pix editor so you could save it as another format. Yeah, and it has some conversion utilities and things like that. So anyways, I guess the whole point of this is, I don't know actually, just a bunch of clip art. It's an early version of clip art from 1986, basically. All right, I think that's going to be it for the Apple IIc. Let me grab the Commodore. I want to check out Choplifter, the cartridge version. So we'll get the ZIF64 out here, which is partially disassembled at this time. No problem. Let's just reconnect the keyboard. Let's boot up the Easy Flash and make sure everything is working here. Go. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's a little shifted over, but that's actually something that's configurable in the RetroTink, so we'll just ignore that for now. Let's look at Adrian's tools, 8-bit dance party. It's been a while. I just want to make sure the sound is working, and it is. Okay. By the way, several people have emailed asking where they can get the 8-bit dance party program. It's available on CSDB. That's the Commodore 64, like big database of all the software. Just go there and type Adrian's Dance Party, and you can download the PRG file. So here is Choplifter. Let's pop this in. Now, interesting is that Choplifter on the Apple II was a 140K disc. I don't know how much of it is used. This cartridge, I don't think can be more than, what, like 16 or maybe 32K. So we pop this on. There it is. It just loads instantly. Let me plug in my joypad here. Oh, there's sound, and it's a bit more advanced because, yes, we have SID. Okay, it's obviously not this joystick port. Okay, what I don't understand is how do I fire? So the fire button actually changes direction. Okay, so what I don't get, it's not as intuitive because the 2-button control on the Apple II just makes a bit more sense. All right, let's try to kill. Hey, don't shoot my guys. No. There we go. So definitely the graphics look to be ported directly from the Apple II version, and they don't look that great, I must say. Oh, no, 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 no. The little guys, they just don't look that sharp, and there's no reason for that. They could look a lot better. The graphics capability of this are far beyond the way it looks there. It certainly plays exactly the same. Are we full up? All right, let's go return these guys. I still don't quite get how to turn. I haven't figured that out exactly. Nope. Whoa, we got some serious slowdown action happening right now. All right, that's everyone. So I just push the button, it fires. I still haven't figured out, oh no, 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 don't shoot me. I haven't figured out how to turn. So I can move left and right, can move up and down, and the button fires. All right, I figured out finally how to do it. You have to hold the button down. If you just push it quickly, it fires. But if you hold it, that's how you rotate. I'm sure the manual will explain that. Let's shoot him. No, 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 no. I think I just have to dodge the plane. I'm not sure I can actually shoot him. No, I can't shoot him, obviously. Whoa. Okay, no one's in that one. Okay, as soon as I shoot it once, they start to run out, and there's some massive slowdown. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't shoot my guys, you tanks. There we go. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Whoa! I flew right into his bullet. All right, anyways, that works. It plays similarly to the Apple II one, although I have to say there's some massive slowdown, and it's kind of disappointing that it doesn't really have any music, and the sound effects are kind of rudimentary. They're very similar to what the Apple II is, and I think the control scheme, because there's only one button, is not quite as good. So I don't know the history behind this game, but I have to say it probably was designed on the Apple II first and then ported to everything else, but I might be incorrect with that. But just the fact that the graphics here look essentially identical to the Apple II version, and it's not really taking advantage of the Commodore 64's extra capabilities, like all the sprites and smooth scrolling and stuff like that. Yeah, it seems like a little bit, I don't know, of like a bit of a lazy port. Now, the thing is that with the cartridge, like I mentioned, definitely the size of the program is definitely pretty small usually, and to do anything more than, I don't know, whatever. I honestly forgot how big the cartridge can be without bank switching, maybe 16K, something like that. So you definitely have much better game capability, even loading off tape, because you can load into the entire 64K of the machine, or of course, loading off a disc, same kind of thing. So cartridge games on the Commodore 64 were definitely less popular than tape and disc games, just because generally cartridge games weren't as capable because of the storage limitation. You could do bank switching with larger EPROMs and stuff like that, and it took a little bit of tricky programming, so you could have big games on cartridges. But generally back in the day, like this one, it's probably not the case. I'm not going to try out on this video this PC version of Choplifter because, you know, this thing is from 2007, and yeah, I don't really do game reviews as it is. I'm terrible at them. And this is a far newer game. Actually, this is probably even later than 2007 because it says it works on Windows 7, which I think came out in 2009. So this thing is actually a bit newer than that. HD remaster. I'm gonna have to put this blackjack game with my Apple III, so when I do finally get that thing out, I'll need to remember to try this. I did try to make disc images of these, and I couldn't. Neither of these read. Well, 99% of the disc read fine, but both of these, the backup and the original, had one bad sector. So I'm assuming there is some type of copy protection on this, and even though I made a disc image, if I tried to write a disc back without that weird bad sector, the game would probably fail to run. As far as these floppy drives go, I did find a little bit of information on the pinout of this, and Steve, Mac84, had something about, well, at least what pins are used, but unfortunately it wasn't really documented that I could find on the actual signal pinout of these connectors. Now, I think I might have said these are 50 pins earlier. These are 37 pin connectors, which is the same as what the PC uses, like the IBM PS2 and the PC XT. I do realize now that the PC XT does not actually provide power on this connector. So its external floppy drives had their own power supplies. But later, the PS2 line of computers used the same type of connector, but it did supply power. Problem is, I think it's very unlikely that this would be compatible with the PS2 directly. If you happen to know, definitely let me know, but I don't think that's the case. It would be a fun project to try to get these drives working on a regular PC, although probably be easier just to remove this entire cable entirely and then run like a ribbon cable out of this thing, a ribbon cable that's, you know, bundled up together with zip ties and some power cables, because that would ensure that there wouldn't be any kind of, well, fire when you put 12 volts into the wrong thing, which is why it's not a good idea to just connect this up randomly to, say, a PS2 and see if it works, because if the 12 volts goes into the wrong pin, well, that's the end of your floppy drive. As far as Macintax goes, I can't remember if I said this or not, but I uploaded this to archive.org. I just took an image of the floppy disk and a picture of the disk and the box, and that is up on archive.org. So just in case this version is not the one that's floating around, well, it's now archived for good. And I think that's going to be that. If you saw anything on here that piques your interest or is interesting or rare and like really needs to be archived, definitely put a comment down below so I can, you know, spend some more time and effort to try to archive that if it's something that's not widely available already. And now it's just the usual YouTube stuff. Subscribe if you haven't already, thumbs up, all the et cetera, you know, that stuff. A huge thanks to my patrons. Their names are scrolling up, no, this side of the screen over here. They make it all possible for me to do this full time. So thank you so much to them. If you want to become a patron, you can do so at the link in the description below. You get early access to videos and, you know, behind the scenes stuff and cool stuff like that. So that is going to be that. So stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.